Imagine committing 4 years of your life and tens of thousands of dollars to a path that might not exist by the time you graduate. That's not a hypothetical, that's already happening. For the first time in modern history, university doesn't just feel risky, it might actually be the risk. Degrees are taking longer to finish, they're costing more, and they're guaranteeing less, while AI quietly replaces the very work students are being trained to do. And once you see what's happening beneath the surface, it's hard to unsee. Because the real question isn't, is university still worth it? The real question is this: what happens when the safest path an entire generation was promised stops being safe at all? For most of the last century, the rules were simple. You finished school, you went to university, you earned a degree, and you stepped into a stable career. That formula didn't work for everyone, but it worked often enough to become the default path. A degree wasn't just an education back then, it was an insurance policy. It reduced uncertainty. You didn't need to constantly reinvent yourself. You chose a profession and you built a life around that, and it gave you status. And that's why parents push university so hard. That's why schools measured success by grades and acceptance letters. That's why not going actually felt more reckless than not. But the entire model depended on one thing: a world that moved slowly. And the world no longer moves slowly. Today, people are making one of the biggest financial decisions of their life at 17 or 18 years old. They're still children, often before they understand who they are or what they actually want from life. They graduate with massive debt, only to discover that the job market no longer treats degrees as guarantees. A degree doesn't promise employment anymore. That's a simple fact. And even when it doesn't promise relevance. Industries now rise and fall in years, not generations, how they used to. And careers that didn't exist 15 years ago now dominate entire platforms, while once respected roles quietly disappear into the background. Social media wasn't a career, neither was UX design, data science, or content creation, and now they're everywhere. And all of this is happening before AI entered the picture. AI didn't just change the rules, it actually broke the whole game. For decades, people believed education could future-proof them. Learn a skill, earn a credential, and you're safe. But AI doesn't care how long you studied something. If a task can be automated, it will be. And increasingly, that includes analytical, creative, and administrative work. The exact work universities train people for. The problem isn't that the jobs are disappearing. That's always happened. The problem is the speed at which it's happening. By the time universities design programs, approve curricula, and graduate students, entire roles can already be obsolete. Students are being trained for yesterday's labor market, using yesterday's assumptions, while tomorrow's tools are already here. Which means you can do everything right. You can pick a sensible degree, you can get the good grades, you can graduate right on time, and still find yourself irrelevant faster than you expected. And that's why anxiety is everywhere. That's why students are feeling lost. That's why so many people quietly wonder if university was a mistake to begin with. Because the old promise, degree equals security, no longer holds. But here's where the conversation usually goes wrong. People jump from the system is broken to university is useless. I think that conclusion feels satisfying, but it's also incomplete. Higher education isn't dead. I think it's just misunderstood now. The real failure of universities isn't that they don't teach useful things, it's that they still sell certainty in a world that no longer offers any. A degree was never meant to guarantee lifelong employment. We just treated it like that because for a while the world moved slowly enough to make the illusion work. That era is over though. So what should universities be for now? Not certainty, not a straight pipeline into a single job. Their real value should be adaptability. Universities should be environments where people learn how to think, how to learn, and how to pivot when the ground shifts beneath them. In an AI-driven economy, the most valuable graduates, they won't be the ones who memorize the right answers. They'll be the ones who can ask better questions, who can cross disciplines and rebuild themselves when their roles change. This is what people mean by an entrepreneurial mindset. And that doesn't mean that everyone needs to start a billion-dollar company. It means learning how to navigate uncertainty, spot opportunity, and create value when the rules change. Those aren't optional traits anymore. These are survival skills. Younger generations already sense this. They value things like autonomy over titles and flexibility over rigid ladders and meaning over prestige. And digital tools, AI, and online platforms, they've lowered the barrier to learning these skills and building income streams and creating careers outside of the traditional structures. University can either fight this reality or they can evolve with it. The ones that cling to outdated promises, they'll just lose the trust of the people. But the ones that embrace adaptability and interdisciplinary learning and real world skill building, those are the ones that will remain relevant in the market. But institutions aren't the only ones who need to change. Students need to do some of the groundwork as well. The idea of a single lifelong career is gone, and chasing job titles as if they offer safety it's a losing strategy. The smarter approach is to focus on skills that travel across industries, to learn how to learn and build independence over time. Degrees still matter, but only when paired with these sorts of initiatives. They can provide depth and discipline and credibility. They can open doors and build networks that can last decades. But a degree alone, without adaptability, is no longer enough. Education can't be something you finish anymore and leave. It has to be something you continue. So, should everyone skip university? No, but no one should go out of fear or pressure or blind faith either. University, it makes sense when it aligns with genuine interest and long-term thinking and a clear understanding of what it can and cannot provide. And for some people, trades, apprenticeships, micro-credentials, or alternative paths, they'll offer far more value with far less risk. The mistake isn't choosing university. The mistake is expecting it to do a job it was never designed to do in this world, in this current world. We're living in a transitional era. The cracks are obvious: rising costs, shrinking trust, outdated promises. But this moment also creates opportunity. The economy no longer rewards people who simply follow the script. It rewards people who can build, adapt, think independently, and create value in changing conditions. Education shouldn't be a one-way pipeline to a job. It should be a foundation for resilience, creativity, and lifelong growth. The universities that understand this will survive. The students who approach education this way, they'll thrive as well. And the sooner we stop pretending the old guarantee still exists, the better prepared we'll all be for what comes next.